Screech by TarynMcT. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 30. Darby walked over to Hitoshi with a plate of food.
I might be your babysitter, but I'm not spoon-feeding you,
he snarked as he undid the handcuffs, biting his arms behind him.
Eat up.
Hitoshi rubbed at his wrists for a moment before he picked up the sandwich from the plate that was placed next to him.
What is this? Ham and cheese? No mayo?
Darby smacked at him.
I could have just pissed in a bowl for you if you'd prefer.
Hitoshi wrinkled his nose.
Gross.
Darby cackled as he picked up his own sandwich. Hitoshi had only taken a few bites when there was a knock on the door.
Coming up pizza, I have a delivery.
That entitled that a prick,
Darby hissed.
I'm gonna shit on it and see if he still wants the pizza,
he hissed as he got up to get the door. Hitoshi had to bite back a laugh, glad that Darby had made a sarcastic comment about the pizza to hide the fact that this was most likely a rescue diversion. Dadel told him once that when villains had a hostage, the heroes would oftentimes create a diversion with a pretend food delivery. Clearly, Endeavor never told his kids about this trick, or else Darby wouldn't be falling for it now. Sure enough, as soon as Darby opened the door, Edshot darted in and knocked out Darby, and the opposite wall exploded, admitting Miracle ready to fight. Hitoshi's eyes went in shock as the form of his brother flew in past her and landed next to Hitoshi. Izuku didn't say a word, just noticed as the restraints were gone, hooted happily, picked him up, and jumped out the destroyed wall just as quickly as he had come. Hitoshi held on tightly onto Izuku and grinned.
I'm glad you're okay.
Izuku chirped at him happily in reply.
You know he's after you though, right?
Yeah, Izuku said quietly through a smile. But I won't let him hurt you just to get to me. If it's a fight he wants. Before Izuku could finish that sentence, the wall on the upper floor exploded.
Deku!
Came the enraged scream from the blonde asshole. He started using the explosions from his original quirk to fly after them, manic grin at seeing Izuku. Izuku glanced backward towards him and hissed, but he didn't stop his flight and was easily outpacing Bakugo. I'm taking you to a drop-off point, Izuku said, stressed by Bakugo still pursuing them. If he's still on us by the time I get you there, I'll have to fight him, but I'm really trying not to.
He picked up another quirk,
Hitoshi informed him.
I watched him kill someone by touching them. They just disintegrated.
Izuku hissed at that but didn't say anything else, just became more determined. Suddenly, Hitoshi started choking on something. A black goo started coming out of his mouth, quickly expanding and covering him. He faintly heard Izuku calling his name before he was suddenly teleported somewhere else. Izuku was so shocked when Hitoshi disappeared, he stopped flapping his wings and started dropping out of the sky for a moment. The shock didn't last long, and he turned his head around to see if Bakugo was still following him. When he saw that Bakugo had also disappeared, he landed on the roof of a building and strained his hearing. Hopefully, Hitoshi would make some sort of sound and Izuku would be able to follow him. Hopefully, he was close enough for Izuku to hear. In the distance, Izuku could hear Bakugo screaming at someone. What the fuck was that for? I had him in my sights. I was finally going to be able to kill that fucking bird. He paused, as if he was listening to someone, and then he heard Bakugo just scream in rage. Izuku couldn't hear Hitoshi, but it was likely they were both taken by the same person, so maybe they were at the same place. Izuku took off in the direction he heard Bakugo screaming, and realized it was coming from the second location, the warehouse that was holding at least one Nomu. Izuku saw Hitoshi in a defensive stance across from Bakugo, who was steadily approaching him with his hands popping off intimidating explosions. Izuku took a deep breath in preparation for a screech as he shot in from their side. He carefully aimed his attack to avoid Hitoshi and let loose a screech that blasted Bakugo off his feet and sent him tumbling about 10 meters, and then landed in front of Hitoshi in a defensive crouch. Hitoshi shook his head a bit to reorient himself from the sudden noise.
Holy shit, that was loud,
he muttered. Can you hear me, Hito? Izuku asked, not sure if his brother's ears would still be ringing or not.
Yeah, not very well, but yeah,
he admitted. Nodding, Izuku said, if you run behind me, there's a perimeter keeping back the civilians. You should go check in with them. It's not where I was going to take you, but I don't think I can get you away again. Not that they can just bring you back.
Kick his ass, Izu,
Hitoshi encouraged before taking off in the direction Izuku had told him to. Just in time, as Bakugo's manic grin reappeared on his face as he stalked towards Izuku. You're going to finally face me, Deku! Izuku narrowed his eyes and extended his talons. I don't want to fight you, Bakugo. I've never wanted to fight you. Fine, then we don't have to fight. I'll just kill you. After all, you ruined me, Deku! He screamed in reply.
I was going to be the best, the #1 hero, and you just destroyed that.
Nothing I have ever done was ever about you, Izuku screamed back. I just wanted to live my life, but you just had to insert yourself into my life. Why couldn't you just leave me alone?
I would have if you had just died like you were supposed to.
Bakugo lunged at him with his hand out and lit off a massive explosion, but Izuku easily dodged the attack with a single flap of his wings and countered with a quick screech.
What have I ever done to you to make you hate me so much? Izuku demanded. You refused to stay in your place, Bakugo growled at him. You were a quirkless, useless freak. You should have died, but you never did. You kept coming back, looking down on me and being a pain in my ass.
He lunged at him again, but this time without using his explosions, just open hands.
Nothing I ever did was ever about you.
Izuku dodged Bakugo's attacks, sure that he was trying to use the new quirk Hitoshi had mentioned Bakugo having.
I just wanted to live my life in peace. Then maybe you should have had a quirk.
Bakugo sank grazed the sleeve of Izuku's shirt, and it started to disintegrate.
I did have a quirk, Izuku yelled. You see these wings? These talons? This is my quirk. I have never been quirkless.
The two boys continued fighting, Izuku landing a few open-handed slaps of his own, catching his talons on Bakugo's arms or chest each time, while managing to keep from getting hit himself. As they fought, Izuku let his instincts and training take over, while he thought of every time in the past Bakugo had hurt him, what led up to those moments, and he heard Inui's voice echoing in his head. You're not responsible for regulating the thoughts and feelings of anyone other than yourself, and realized that he was right. Other times Bakugo, or even his mother, come to think of it, had ever hurt him, it was to cover their own faults. With Bakugo, it was his pride that was his downfall. He thought he was the best, and whenever he tried to do something, he succeeded. Whether it was schoolwork, quirk training, whatever. He never failed, never got second place on anything. And that changed when Izuku stopped hiding his quirk. The teacher stopped him from attacking Izuku at Dara. Izuku got the first place at the entrance exam for UA, at the quirk assessment test. Bakugo got 4th place. Bakugo was expelled, even. But none of that was Izuku's fault. It was all Bakugo's fault. He didn't learn. He kept his anger, his pride, his stubbornness. He insisted everything that happened was someone else's fault. His mother's reactions to him weren't his fault either. She cheated on her husband. She got pregnant by a man who she wasn't married to. None of that was Izuku's fault. If she hated him so much, the right thing to do would have been to surrender him to child services, give him up so another family could have a chance to raise him. Izuku should have had a chance at a normal life, but the fact that he didn't is not his fault. Even though Inui had been saying this to him for the past few months, and even more in the past week, the sadness of this revelation, the fact that he actually believed it, stunned Izuku enough to make him freeze in place. Not for long, but just long enough for Bakugo to get in close enough to land a hit on him with an open palm. Izuku managed to move out of the way, so the hit didn't land on his chest, but Bakugo's hand hit his wing, nearly at the base, and he just did not let go. The pain traveled down Izuku's wing, and he let loose a massive screech right at Bakugo's face, and as the blunt was blasted away by the force of Izuku's screech, he felt his entire left wing fall to the ground. Izuku glared at Bakugo as he got back to his feet shakily. Ha! Stupid fucking bird! Let's see how you deal without wings! The thing about Izuku's wings, if they were injured, they retracted, so as soon as his left wing fell off, the right wing and the remaining stump retracted. But no one said Izuku didn't know how to fight without his wings. And now, he was pissed. Izuku hissed at Bakugo and flexed his fingers before launching himself at the blonde. Unlike the last time they tangled, Izuku was looking to cause damage to Bakugo, landing numerous swipes on him while still managing to dodge his open-handed slats. He wasn't as lucky with the explosions, but what's a few more burns? Luckily, his hero costume was fire resistance, so he was really only getting bruises from the concussive blasts. After another few minutes of fighting, Izuku managed to wrap his hand around Bakugo's left arm, and he could feel his hand clamp up in a stress grip, with his talons sinking deeply into his arm, piercing not only skin, but muscle and bone as well. Izuku's grip didn't loosen when he felt just how deeply his talons were going. Instead, he felt his grip tighten further. Bakugo tried to bring his other hand up to force Izuku to release him, but in a panic, Izuku let loose another point-blank screech at him and sent him flying several meters. Izuku's eyes widened further as he looked down and saw he was still gripping onto Bakugo's arm. That was now detached from the rest of Bakugo's arm.
You crazy fuck!
Bakugo screamed, tears streaming down his face as he cradled the stump of his arm close to his chest.
You ripped off my arm! You ripped off my wing! Izuku screamed back at him. Only difference is I can still fight with one wing. Can you fight with only one hand? Izuku could practically see the fury radiating off of Bakugo as he prepared himself to rush at Izuku again when a giant red and black tentacle wrapped around Bakugo and threw him into an open portal that closed once Bakugo had gone through it.
My apologies.
A man with half a melted face, wearing a suit with slightly damaged sleeves, said calmly.
I am not quite done with him yet. It would be a pity if you managed to kill him prematurely.
Oh my gosh, Izuku lost a wing! And then took Bakugo's arm. Like payback. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 30 of Screech. And I'll see you all next time. Bye! Hey, outtakes! Even though Inui... Fuck. I'm not going to cry.